Welcome to the morning after week 12. We are back here with a very short show here today. I do have my assistant back with me again. This time she doesn't have school. It is actually the morning or the evening after. I'd be to work early, so I didn't get a chance this morning. I was going to try to, but I ran out of time. So we'll get to the news of the day here. First of all, we'll get to the high point standings. Right now, currently, Dr. Dangerous has 3 wins. Team Price is Right, myself and the Gargoyles have 2 wins. Badgers, Horn Dogs, and Maulers have 1. This is for $10. And since I've complained, I think, to a few people how this year's gone for me with scoring, Griff also received a high point win this week. Surprise, surprise, he was playing me. That is now the 9th team out of 12 who's been a top 2 finisher when they've played against me on the week, and 10 out of 12 have finished top 3. So the Gargoyles, with their alternate helmet design here, it looks the gargoyle there that looks like a T for Timmy's pterodactyls, the gargactyls, if you will. So there we have that. Next up, we'll get into the standings. Dr. Dangerous is 9-3, leading the way. The Gargoyles are 8-3-1. The Little Big Men are 7-3-2. And by the way, I did say last time that is a record, I believe. It is not. Actually, in 2002, Brands Bombers had 3 ties in 1 year, which is the record, although it's close. The Black Dingles are 9-3, currently in 4th, but if they do pass Dr. Dane, they'll move to 1. And then the Badgers are 7-4-1 and in 5th place. Those 5 teams have all clinched a playoff spot. The 6th spot is all that's left, and it comes down to who has the most points. Currently, the Team Price is Right Maulers and Minotaurs at 5-7. However, in terms of points, I lead at 784.5. Team Price is Right at 778.5. Maulers 757.5, and the Horn Dogs at 745 are in 4th of that grouping. Those are really the only 4 of us think they have a shot, unless somebody has like just 2 huge weeks here. Yep, thank you for showing that. It's like 2 90 or 100-point weeks, maybe be able to push the Minotaurs or the Bruisers, or don't do that, or the Sasquatches or the Colts. I'm sorry. Into that range, but probably not at this point. Also, we do have some history possibly happening besides myself almost assuredly getting the most points against. I think teams have to average like 50 points against me the last 2 weeks, which don't worry, somebody probably hit 100 this week against me, and it'll be hit next week. Anyway, Dr. Dangerous is on pace for possibly the highest points in a single season. They currently have 1,002. The record is 172. So 170.5, so 85.5-ish points, and you'll get it. So it'll be close. Also, right now, Dr. Dangerous is currently the most dominant team in league history. Is 170 more points than Badgers, which puts him at about 14 points, I think, better than the next, which would make him the most dominant team. Most dominant teams previously have been the Cardinals. Myself, 2018, I had 13.4 more points per week than the Horn Dogs. 2020, I had 9.2 more points per week than the Team Price is Right. 9.1 in 2000 over the Sasquatches. 8.3 in 2015 over the Bone Storm. And the Horn Dogs actually had 8.1 more than the Sasquatches in 2007. Fun fact, not for me. But those 4 teams of mine did not win a Super Bowl. 2018 went to the Bucks. 2020 went to Team Price is Right. 2000 went to the Thrills. In 2015 went to the Bruisers. If I remember correctly, I had all of his running backs get hurt that year, and he was playing with like 4th and 5th running backs to win the Super Bowl. That was impressive. I think his receivers went crazy in the playoffs. So he had like crazy touchdown 2 luck on there with his running backs, but it worked out. The only team of that team, dominant teams that have won the Super Bowl, is the Horn Dogs. And a little fun statistic there. Some of the players for those teams, for the long fantasy footballers, 2000, my Cardinal team that had 984 points. Dante Culpepper, Eddie George, Curtis Martin, Terrell Owens, Amani Toomer, Jimmy Smith, Jason Elam, and the Buccaneer defense. That was the 3rd place most dominant. The 2020 team, 2nd most dominant, Josh Allen, Dalvin Cook, James Robinson had a great year for the Jaguars that year. Travis Kelce, DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, Mostert and Deontay Johnson were kind of the flexes. Blankenship and extreme defenses that year, apparently. And then finally, the most dominant team at this point in history was 2018. Mahomes, Zeke, Mixon, James Conner was my flex, and then Mike Evans, Juju, Cooper Kupp before his injury, and then Keenan Allen and Jake Elliott and the Chicago defense that year. So yeah, that is that. We will do a show after the season. Next 2 weeks, it's really down to playoff seeding and who will get that last spot in the playoffs with the points. So the four of us there, going back to that, Corn Dogs, the Maulers, Team Price is Right, and the Cardinals. Pretty much it's a 2-week pod, more or less, of which one of us has the most points. You guys do have to outscore me by a little bit, but it is manageable for you. But we will have to see how it ends up. So best of luck to everyone except those three that I'm playing in the make-believe pod here. Because it really doesn't matter who wins or not. It's we're locked into the 6th spot into that first wild card pod. So have a good next 2 weeks. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Oh, and by the way, one last thing too. This was kind of fun. The most dominant team, by the way, Dr. Dangerous. My record is 4-8. If Dane would have played my schedule, you'd even be 6-6, Dane. Even as dominant as you've been, you would not have had a great year record-wise against that schedule. So, final effect, I did forget to point out last time. So, all right, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.